Robert Fritz's Structural Consulting channel. What this is. We present full structural consultations, ones that change people's lives. The idea behind this channel is for you to witness a completely different understanding of the human condition. Here are a few things to know. Structural consulting is not therapy. It is an exploration of the underlying structures in the client's life that produces predictable patterns of behavior. What is structure? Structure is a combination of elements that impact each other. In these sessions, the client's structures are a combination of what they want to create, how reality actually is, and the various concepts that they have. The concepts clients have are usually hidden from them, but these concepts have impact in influencing the client's life patterns. A change of structure will cause a change of the client's patterns. The principle. The underlying structure of anything will determine its behavior. The process involves seeing the actual patterns in the client's life, which leads to a better understanding of the client's underlying structure. The sessions last between 1 or 2 hours. We suggest that if you do decide to watch them, do so when you have time to see the entire process. If you want to see more structure consultations, subscribe to the channel. And here is the session.
So what do you want to talk about?
I probably want to go through why I've got a what makes my pattern oscillate, I guess.
Okay, I haven't had a chance to do your pattern. Give me a moment here. I got to set up my guy. So let's do it together while, I'm. Sorry, it's just going to take me a moment to
No worries.
make sure that this is there. Okay, it's there. Okay. Okay, so do you have a story that has a beginning, a middle, and an end? Set up for something, you had it for a period of time. At the end of the story, you no longer had it, and it was not a good ending.
Yes.
Okay, so just tell me the story.
So I had I decided to make a life change.
What was the thing you were after that you set out for?
I wanted to build my own travel company.
You wanted to do what?
I wanted to build a travel business.
Okay, build a travel business. Okay. Okay. Then what happened?
I set out fairly enthusiastically to do that.
What did you do? What did you actually do?
I set up a company, which and set up made some contacts overseas to
Let's do one thing at a time. Okay.
Okay.
The first thing you did was set up a company?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, and then what did you do? Next thing?
Then I got some decided on some trips I'd run.
Okay, then what?
And then I made contact with some companies, some partners overseas to organize the trips for me.
And the company at that point was a real company. It was really
Yes. It's established, company.
okay. And then what did you do?
Then I got them to price up some trips. So I gave them an itinerary and got them to price it up.
Okay. Okay, then what happened?
And then I started to advertise. I've advertised on Facebook and a few other mediums.
Okay. And then what happened?
And then I wasn't getting such a great response from people.
Mhm. Yeah, then what happened?
I started to doubt myself.
Did you ever book any trips?
Yes, I book and ran trips. So actually, I should go through that.
Yeah.
Yep.
How did they go, these trips that you booked?
They went really well.
For the people who your customers, who you book them for?
Yeah, the customers like them as well.
Okay. Okay.
And so I managed to get some people on the trips.
Okay, and then what happened? Not enough response, you said. And then
Not enough response.
Okay.
And so often I ran the trip at a loss. So yeah.
And then what happened?
And then I'd doubt myself and question whether I should give it away, I guess.
And then what happened?
I talked to someone else about it, and
What do you mean you talked to somebody else? What did you
so in a conversation with someone, I might get asked, what do I do? I tell them what I do, and they get all excited about it. And that would take away my doubt temporarily. And
okay. And then what?
And then I'd look to run another trip. So come up with another itinerary.
Mm-hmm.
And engage my partner overseas.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And advertise the trip.
Okay. And then what?
And then
Not enough response?
Not enough response. Yep.
And did that trip happen and you lost money?
That trip happened. I lost money.
Yeah, okay. And then what?
And then I'm just trying to think. Got a good response from the people that went.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
I got think now. I would look at I'd come up with another itinerary.
Okay.
The response wouldn't be so great.
Okay.
I'd doubt myself, and yeah.
Right. And then how did it end?
Well, it ended for two reasons. And it ended partly
No, not why did it end?
Ah,
How did it end?
how did it end? I decided it was too hard and gave it away.
Okay. Let me check this against other stories.
Okay.
Okay. Can you think of another story we set out for something and had it for a period of time and no longer had it?
Yep.
Okay. You had a desire?
Yep.
Did you set up a structure?
Yep.
Did you then have a plan?
Yep.
Did you involve others?
Yes.
And then you got involved?
Yep.
You made it known?
Yep.
It was good at first,
Yep.
but then there was not enough response?
Not with that one, but yep. Go on.
What happened then? What happened at that moment?
So with that one, I sort of with that particular story, I got to a point where I'd got to a point where I wasn't sure where I wanted to go next. It was a career one.
Before you had, I'm going to call it second thoughts.
Yep.
Did you feel like you lost out on something?
Somewhat, yes.
I've got one step is it was good at first.
Yep.
And then something happens and then you've lost out. And then you had second thoughts. So I want to know how to do that step in between good at first and lost out.
So with this one, I set out for something. I got there. I achieved it. I had a great career.
Listen, I'm only looking for one step.
Okay.
And the step is after it was good at first.
Yes.
And at another point, you felt like you lost out and had second thoughts. Before you felt, I go from good at first to lost out, something must have happened to you for you to feel like you lost out.
I can't, with the other story, I can't think of anything. All I can think of is it.
When it was good at first, what was going on when it was good at first in the actual story?
I was great at what I was doing, performing really well.
And then what happened after that?
I got bored.
Okay. So you didn't have enough response. I should write that differently though, anyway. I'm going to call it inadequate interest.
Okay.
which is true for both stories. In one case, it was other people lack of interest, and in this case, it's your lack of interest.
Okay. Yep.
So after you had second thoughts, did you go get some port and try again?
Did I go get some, sorry,
Support.
support? Yes.
And did you try again for a while?
Yes. Yes.
And then it would, but you had, at that point, you still had inadequate interest
Yes.
and you lost out and had
Yes.
some more second thoughts.
Yes.
And then you realized it wasn't for you.
Yes.
And that was it. You're out.
Yes. Yes.
Let me show you the pattern. We'll check it against another story in a moment, but let me just show you what this looks like. So let's check it against another story now while we're looking at it. So you got one?
Yep.
Third story, really.
Yep.
Okay, you got involved?
Yep.
You made it known?
Yep.
It was good at first?
Yep.
Inadequate interest?
Yep.
Lost out?
Yep.
Second thoughts?
Yep.
Got support?
Yep.
Tried again?
Yep.
So this is like a musical repeat here. Back to here. I should do this right. And then that's the first ending. So it could cycle through 3 or 4 times in that.
Okay.
And then finally, you realized it was not for you.
Yep.
And then you were out.
Yep.
Okay. So I think this is your pattern. Desire, set up a struggle. Oh, I didn't start. So let's start from, sorry, I missed the top. So you had a desire. Did you set up a structure?
Yes.
And there was a plan
Yep.
and you involved others?
Yep.
Okay. And then you got involved in it. Okay. So I just didn't happen to take the pad far enough out, but we still, these are all the steps in your pattern.
Okay.
Yeah. So at least we have the pattern. Now it's our job to find out what causes it. And that's what we'll do. What did you tell yourself when the story was over? Any one of the stories?
When the story was over, I was telling myself that it was a relief, that there was no more stress.
No, that's how you felt about it. You felt relieved.
Okay.
But what did you tell yourself about it?
That it was good that it was over.
And why was that? Besides the stress thing.
Because I could go on and do what I really wanted to do.
So these various enterprises, you thought you couldn't do what you wanted to do?
I think I've concluded to myself that I wasn't doing what I wanted to do.
When you got into it, was it what you wanted to do?
I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure.
Okay. Why did you go into the travel business?
Because I had it, I was looking for a new direction in life, and a coach I had at the time suggested that it might be a good idea because I had an interest in travel.
Mm-hmm. So it wasn't originally even your idea?
No.
Mm-hmm. What about the second story? Was that your idea?
Same thing. It was, yeah, same thing. So yeah.
Okay. And why did you take advice like that?
I had no idea what I wanted to do.
Hmm. Do you still have no idea what you want to do?
I'd say so, yes.
Okay. Why do you have to know what you want to do?
So I know so I know what I've got to work towards.
Why do you have to work towards anything?
Life would be a waste, I guess, otherwise.
How so?
Um, I think otherwise I just wouldn't do anything.
What's wrong with that? I don't know if there's anything wrong with it, but I feel like I want to do something. Something or other.
Yes. That's what it starts to feel like.
Yeah. It's a little like saying, I would really love to be in love. There's no one I happen to love, but it would be nice to fall in love with someone or other.
Yeah. So it's a good way to put it.
So, but if you wanted to do something, you know it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And now there's nothing in particular you want to do. And if you did want to do something, you know it.
Yeah. And I guess that's a strange thing. The small things that are easy for me to know if I want to do them. I know I want to redecorate the office, so I'm going ahead and doing it.
Yeah.
It's the bigger questions.
Why are they bigger?
They're bigger because they're more involved.
Not if you don't do them. They're not involved at all.
That's true.
But you do have an idea that somehow they're more important, bigger, more meaningful, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Come on, that's implied.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely. Each time it's sort of it's been important to succeed and to sort of make something of it.
Why? Really think it through now, because this is an assumption you've made. You've built it in, and you've never thought it through. You've always assumed that it's important to do something meaningful, big, important. And then you've searched for that. You search for candidates for that.
Yeah.
So the question is, what's that all about? What does it mean even? Why is it important to do something important?
Okay. The only thing that's coming up for me is what my father thinks, because I was brought up believing that had to have a good career and had to always be climbing the ladder, and that didn't work for me. And because I've walked away from that, I feel like I've got to.
Did your father say things you didn't agree with?
Yes.
But you agree with that one?
I don't want to agree with it, but it's sort of, I think it's
Well,
sat
but
in the
point-
background as an assumption.
yeah. But the point is, you can't blame your father.
Oh, no, I
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah. I mean, is it okay with you if your father thinks you're not living up to his expectations?
Yes.
Mhm. Good. But now about you living up to your own expectations.
Yeah, that feels like it's even even higher.
More insidious, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So accomplish? Why do you have to do anything? Why do you have to do things that are meaningful?
Um, I can't. Yeah, I'm trying to think that through, and I'm not coming up with anything.
What would it be like if you didn't do anything meaningful in your life?
I guess I'd be seen as a bit of a bum by everyone else.
Would you be a bum?
No,
Why would it matter to you how they see you?
I guess it always that's something that yeah, that's always mattered to me, how people see me.
Why?
Because yeah, it's important to me.
Why? I'm just looking at your pattern now, trying to, get
Yeah,
to see what's there in the structure, that might be helpful. Mhm.
guess I want to be seen as a nice person.
Yeah, but what does it matter?
Um, I guess it doesn't.
Well, I guess it does, since you've organized part of your life around it.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
Mm. What you think is it shouldn't, but it does.
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah.
Better put. Yeah.
Yeah. Does being seen by other people a particular way, is that so you can see yourself a particular way?
I think so. Yes.
Your pattern is, the oscillating pattern is that you get into things that you don't really care about that much.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. And you give it a good try in the beginning. I mean, you really try to set it up right. You get other people involved, you get involved yourself. You try to set it up so you'll succeed, and it starts to work. And it's an interesting thing because in a structural point, when it starts to work, that's when there's a reversal.
Mm.
That's when there's inadequate interest.
Yep.
Yeah. And eventually you have inadequate interest. That's why you have your second thoughts. It's not only the lack of success of in the case of the travel business, the lack of success of enrollment into the trips, but whether you think you should be doing this thing in the first place.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So when you think about doing it, whether you should be doing this in the first place, what's the standard of measurements or the criteria that you use to decide whether or not it should be something you should be involved with?
Whether it excites me. Whether it excites me.
What would make it exciting?
Just something new, something impressive, maybe.
Oh.
Oh.
Who are we trying to impress?
Everyone else, probably.
Look, everybody, Nick's a good guy. He's really a nice guy. He's really okay. Okay, so is there anything in life you actually have to do that's meaningful, or, that makes you appear to others to be what appear to others to be? Finish that sentence.
Successful, likable, wanting to, connect.
Mm-hmm. That's the ideal, I guess. So probably what we're looking at is your unwanted belief, which is the opposite of that ideal.
Okay.
Well, the meaning of success to you, I mean, what does it actually mean?
Well, it's not about, for me, it's not about money or anything like that. It's more so
Symbolic.
Yeah.
Yeah. What does it symbolize?
It symbolizes, God, the first thing that comes to my mind is it symbolizes who I am.
And what is that? Who are you if you're successful? And who are you if you're not successful?
Well, I know the answer should be I'm the same person, but for whatever reason, it's it just doesn't seem to.
Well, no, that's not the true answer, because the true answer probably lies in your concept about who you really think you are in relationship to what you have to compensate for who you think you really are.
Okay.
Well, is it?
I think there's certainly a belief there that's a negative belief about myself. Yeah.
And what is that belief?
I can't come up with any words. I'm trying to.
The reason you can't is your mind is fighting it, and it almost wants to hold on to the concept. This is how these things work. As we get closer and closer, your mind wants to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
No, it's a very common thing in structural dynamics to see as you get close to what we're looking at is we have an oscillating pattern. It looks like it's based on an unwanted belief we have. The ideal is about being successful and acceptable and good guy and all of that,
Yeah.
which means that probably the belief is a contrast to that. And as you start to hone in on what it might be, the whole strategy has been to hide the belief from yourself because you want it.
Okay. Um,
Well,
um,
when you don't succeed in relationship to success, how do you feel?
how do I feel?
Or what do you think? To be
What's
more
that?
precise. Or what do you think, to be more precise,
What do I think?
about yourself?
When I don't succeed, I tell myself I'm a failure.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I tell myself, yeah, or no hope, or yeah.
Yeah. So look at the pattern just once again. Wow. So in the pattern, there's a point where you're losing ground. And I imagine at that point, it becomes rather uncomfortable for you. And you think, because in a way, you're trying to accomplish the success, but what's being reinforced by the experience is failure or potential failure
Yeah,
or imminent failure, which is even worse.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe that's what you believe about yourself. We could check it out, but I want to just show you the structure that we're dealing with, which I think you probably already know about this. So you have an unwanted belief. Let's say right now, temporarily, placeholder, we say the unwanted belief is your failure.
Okay.
And the ideal that you create, not automatically, the ideal you create is not something you consciously cook up. It's more of an automatic compilation for the unwanted belief. And the ideal is to be a big success. And the ideal is designed to argue against the unwanted belief.
Okay.
So that then becomes a feedback loop. And then we have reality, which is also a feedback loop, both the unwanted belief and the ideal. For example, if you fail, in reality, you're probably warning yourself about how you should behave and how you didn't do it right, and look out, because otherwise you'll be a failure.
Yeah.
And this is the whole thing that you said about who I am, right?
Yeah.
And what in this structure is called the ideal belief reality conflict. And in this structure, what often happens is people create various experiences that are designed to support the ideal and argue against the belief. The only thing is that these experiences, which are supposed to support the ideal, actually reinforce the belief, because who but a person who thought they were a failure would make a symbol out of success, which is not the same as, being happy that you succeeded and not happy if you failed. This becomes the way that you define yourself.
Yep.
When you think about your life in different instances, can you observe how you may have had that belief that was driving various things that you ended up doing?
I'm not sure. Yeah, trying to look at that, and I can't observe that. Yeah.
Well, I do see it in your pattern,
Okay.
right? I mean, even the way you get into things, which sometimes are not even your own idea that you take on.
Yeah.
And in a way, there's a hidden agenda there, which is, if I take on the right thing and do it well, it'll be a success, proving once and for all I'm not the failure that I think I am.
Yeah. 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 I think the other thing I tell myself too when I take on someone else's idea is, if someone else has had that idea, then
it's okay if it doesn't work because it wasn't yours.
Well, that's partly it, but it's also like, from a trip point of view, it's almost an indication to me that that's going to be something in their eyes that symbolizes success, if that makes sense.
It totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want you to say over and over a few times, I'm a failure. And what you're doing is you're teaching the unwanted belief yourself, because what will happen is, if you become fluent in what you believe about yourself, you no longer have to hide it, and the compensating strategy goes away.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not try to say, oh, you're really okay. And, don't, you shouldn't think that.
Yeah.
There's no basis for self-definition. It's not like you live in Australia and that's a fact. And if you move to New Zealand, then suddenly you would change your belief about where you live.
Yeah.
That's in the realm of reality and facts. There's no way to define a human being. So whatever you believe about yourself isn't going to change, because there's no substance to change it. And when you try to change it, either by affirmation or by experiences, all it does is reinforce the belief, because who but a person who thought they were a failure would have to prove that they're a big success.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And if you did affirmations, I'm a success, I'm a success, I'm a success, your mind goes, bullshit, bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, ready?
All right. Yep, I'm ready.
Yeah. So the sentence is, I'm a failure.
Okay. I'm a failure. I'm a failure. I'm a failure. I'm a failure. I'm a failure.
Okay. So I know you don't like the belief, which is why it's hidden, why you have hidden it. But I also want to say how irrelevant it is what you believe about yourself, because you still have aspirations, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You want good relationships,
Yep.
good health,
Yep.
meaningful work,
Yep.
quality of life.
Yep.
So independent of what you think about yourself, these are some of the things you actually want.
Mm.
So what's interesting is the way you tied what you want with a symbol of who you are.
Mm. Yeah.
Talk about pressure.
Absolutely.
I bet in this structure that every little thing you do that works becomes symbolic of, I'm not a failure.
Yeah, it's certainly
Look,
certainly calls for
I
celebration,
actually
put it that way.
spelled that word right. Look at that. Go away. It's my cat. My cat's meowing, wants attention, he wants food. Do you hear him?
Yeah, yep. I can hear him.
Yeah.
Almost sounded like a baby.
He's very demanding. Come here. Okay. Whoop. There he is.
Oh.
Yeah. You go. So, okay. Say it a couple of more times just to kind of get used to the idea.
Okay. I'm a failure. I'm a failure. I'm a failure.
True, that's what you think or not? I didn't ask you if you liked it. I asked if it was true.
Yes.
Yeah, you think that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, because what's possible is is a change of underlying structure if the concept is no longer in the structure. So, my thing is, okay, we have dynamic urge, which are desires of different types, and we have reality, and then we have concepts tied together in what I call a causal set, which is actually a feedback loop looking for equilibrium. And my two rubber band thing, right?
Yep.
So let's say if you're going toward what you want, and this is the concept, the tension here is stronger than the tension on the other rubber band. And when you finally reach the goal, the rubber band in front of you is resolved, but this one has the most tension. And so the path of least resistance at that point is to move backwards. And that creates the oscillation. So you get into your pattern, desire, you set up a structure and you involve others and you get involved and you let people know and so on and so on. That's all you moving in the direction of what you want. But then when you have a substantial heads up at movement, that's the point in the structure that moves you away from what you want. It's physics. Now, if we take the concept out of the structure, what we're left with is structural tension that's resolvable. So that can resolve. And the concept is out of the structure. Now, it isn't that it disappears. It's simply no longer in the structure. And what we're left with is structural tension. What you want, what you have, independent of what you think about yourself. Yeah. So it's like this. I mean, we have a tripod, 3 legs. If I take one of the legs out of the tripod, I have a new structure, will cause a different pattern of behavior. But the leg doesn't disappear that I've taken out. It still exists. It just doesn't exist in the structure.
Yep.
And that's why to learn what you actually think about yourself takes the concept out of the structure, because you're no longer tying it to whether or not you succeed. Success doesn't become a symbol of anything. You're not defined a symbol because you know what you think about yourself.
Mm.
And in the meantime, sure, you want success. Why wouldn't you? But it doesn't have that extracurricular agenda of prove I'm okay to the world because I really think I'm.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
No,
if you do
no,
a quick, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say it makes total sense.
If you look at your life, can you see moments where that was going on?
Yes.
Hmm. Okay. So where are you now?
Partly I feel relaxed, but partly I'm sort of a bit confused.
Like disoriented?
Disoriented, I was going to say,
okay. Yeah, disoriented. Yeah. Do you feel free?
Yeah. Yeah, or just.
Do you feel like maybe a weight's been taken off your shoulders? Kind of
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay. These are the typical experiences people have when there's a change of underlying structure. And the reason is because up to this point, you've experienced chronic stress. Trying to be something you think you're not. No matter, even when you succeed, by the way, when it's symbolic, it still reinforces the concept.
Yeah.
And so it always creates this kind of stress. Dr. Anderson, who co-wrote Identity with me, the book Identity, describes it this way. He said, stress is a response that, for example, in ancient times, when somebody saw a saber-toothed tiger, they would mobilize stress to get away from the tiger. About an hour later or so, all of the hormones, the adrenaline and so on, should go back to normal. But in chronic stress, it never goes away.
Yep.
So when you're no longer trying to hold this ideal against reality, the stress goes away. And that's why you feel free and a weight's been lifted off your shoulders. And of course, it's disorienting because it feels different than your usual, what can I do next to prove I'm okay?
Yeah.
Does it matter whether you succeed or not?
No.
Yeah, but you like to, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but it doesn't have any symbolic meaning to you does it? I mean, it just, you want to be able to create what you want, independent of what it means.
Yeah.
So then there's this question about like you looking for the big hit versus doing little things which you like. And, looking for that symbol of success. When I asked you about what you wanted, and it's like wanting to be in love, but there's no one happen to love, but you wanted to be in love.
Yeah.
And in this case, wanting to be successful, there's nothing you actually want to do, but if you find that you want to, that was all about trying to find the symbol, the candidate that would symbolize success. But if you don't have that as a symbol, then you can really look at the question, what do you really want? And the answer doesn't have to be anything in particular, big or small.
Yeah.
Right? Do you think that?
Yeah. No, it doesn't have to be. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's things you like to do, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we're done.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
think we're done?
I think it feels like we're done. Yeah.
Okay. Can you describe what it was like doing the session with?
Yeah, really.
For those who are watching this, they won't know what happened and how it happened and why it happened so fast and what profound meaning it actually has. This change. And so if you could describe that for them, that would be good.
Okay. Well, yeah, it certainly was challenging at times. Yeah, afterwards, totally worth it. It's sort of feels like a different me.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, I want to thank you for being my client.
Thank you, Robert.
And I'm going to stop recording and we'll say goodbye once I stop the recording.
Okay.